Hi, my name is Jada Morales.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Ramey Rowland.
Hi, my name is Molly Codman.
Hi, good morning. My name is Daniel Garvey, and I'm the Executive Director of Lorain High School.
So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your background.
I would be happy to, just to explain for the viewers out there, today we are coming together with some of our excellent senior students here at Lorain High who invited me for a conversation to talk about what's going on here in the high school from now until the end of the year, and to discuss some of our planning for the 2019-2020 year. To respond to Molly's question, a little bit about my background and what brings me to here to Lorain. I was asked before we began recording if I had any specific connections to Lorain, and my response to that was no specific connection. I grew up in Fairview Park, Ohio, fairly close to here, and spent most of my summertime in Vermilion, Ohio, so came through Lorain an awful lot. And my father was in the United States Coast Guard, so I've been to the Lorain Coast Guard facility and across the bridge over the Black River here in Lorain. So had the opportunity to get to know Lorain since I began my tenure here at the high school on August 1st of this past year.
So, I know you haven't been in Lorain a long time, but what is your favorite part about Lorain so far?
So that's a great question, and I was asked this recently. I think one of the things that I most love about Lorain is the diversity. I love that about our students. I've got to know a little bit about the city. I know there are strong connections if you're from East Side, if you're from West Side, if you're from South Side here in Lorain, and getting to learn that has been interesting to me, but also the cultural diversity that we have here. We have some wonderful food that you can have here close. I was in the Dominican Republic prior to coming here, so all of the Puerto Rican food that's at my reach has been great. We just recently had our Black History Month program, and Miss Moon, one of our paraprofessionals here in the building, did some soul food, so we were able to have a lunch with students here at the school. So I've loved the diversity that's here. Got to see the international festival, and looking forward to being at that again this year. It's awesome to be in the international city.
What was your first draw to Lorain? Like, what was the thing that made you want to be here?
So I think it was an opportunity that I had in March of last year. I was able to come and visit the high school. There was an open tour, and it was before I had even thought about working here at Lorain High School. And they had a panel of students who talked about their experience. And these are students who have moved on, because at the time they were seniors. And listening to those students talk about their Titan pride, how much they loved this school, the wonderful experiences they had here, I think that was the first selling point. And then secondly, when I saw this beautiful building and realized all of the opportunity that's available to students in this high school, it's very rare that you can find a place that from 9th grade through 12th grade, you could get an associate's degree, graduate with an industry credential in nearly 15 different areas, or graduate with an honors diploma, and just have a really well-rounded high school experience. And I think that this is what high school should look like, because not every student takes one particular path. I think it's important for students to have options, and this place affords that to students. So I thought this was an exciting place to be, and that there was just tremendous potential here in Lorain that I could be a part of.
So you talked about students not just having one path, but what do you think we can do in the future, the next years, to make sure that we make it available for every student to have their own individual path and not just lead them to the same path?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. Our work, I think, needs to focus primarily on getting students to realize all of the options that they have available to them at the high school. To use you guys as an example, because I know you all fairly well, you are on a track of getting your associate's degree. And I think that's phenomenal, and there are about 22 students here at the high school who are on that path for this year, but we hope to see that number increase dramatically with each passing year. I also have to celebrate our career tech programs. One of the things that they did this year that I think is a huge leap forward is they went to every single one of our classrooms, and they talked to all 9th and 10th graders. And they let them know with a video and with a brochure and with an in-person presentation of all the different programs that we have available to them. And they offered the opportunity for them to be able to go and shadow for a day to see if they might be interested in pursuing culinary arts, or if they might be interested in pursuing welding. So they've had a chance to do that so that now when they begin their selection process, they can choose to be a part of our career tech program moving forward. And that will hopefully raise the number of students who are graduating with that industry credential, which is the third pathway that you have through the state of Ohio for graduation. And we hope to see, we have about 125 students who are credentialing at this point, but we'd like to see that number go up by at least 100 within the next 1 to 2 years.
That would be amazing for us.
Yeah.
To be able to give kids that unique experience that we have to start in a high school and then be able just to go straight from high school into their field of choice.
Right, and what a lot of students don't know, I'll use our culinary arts program as an example. Students who participate in our culinary arts program who get the ServSafe credential, they go through that process. In their jobs now that they're working as high school students, they actually receive, I believe it's $1.50 or $2 an hour increase in their hourly rate, which doesn't sound like much, but when you think about it, in every hour you work overtime, that really does add up. So there are students who, because of their participation in these programs right now, they're reaping the benefits. And then, of course, as you said, when they go to graduate from high school, there will be more opportunities for them. And if we can give students that extra leg up, we want to be able to do that for them in the 4 years that they're here at Lorain High.
So next year, so starting with the 9th grade Titan Academy, what is that going to build up into?
So our 9th grade students going into next year are still going to have a somewhat scripted program. So it's a little bit like college where you have like general education. You know, you have certain classes that you have to take in order to graduate. So 9th grade moving to 10th grade, it's going to look somewhat similar to this year, where they're going to have to take their core content area classes and they'll have the opportunity to take a couple of electives. But 10th grade is the year where they're going to really make the choice and set the foundation for whether or not they'll be pursuing an associate's degree or if they're going to pursue an industry credential. So we hope to give as many of those students the opportunity to see what's available to them so that when they finish 10th grade, they can securely make the choice of what it is that they want to do for 11th and 12th grade. We have to start working with even our 8th grade students who come into 9th grade in having an idea of what they want to do, and it's okay for that to change, but we need them to have a projection of what they see for their future so that they can see the relevance of coming to school every day and know that the time they're putting in now is leading to a dignified next step when they leave high school.
So we're talking about future. What can this, because I know we're all seniors, but what can the students next year expect in terms of leadership and their teachers? Because I know there's been a lot of concern around that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of concern about some of the issues that have gone on in the community and on the district level. And for those who are paying attention to things that are going on, in the most recent board meeting, we had a lot of Lorain High School students who went to our Board of Education to express their support for our teachers. And on a building level, we were thrilled to see that outpouring of support and to let our teachers know how much the students appreciate them and recognize the sacrifice and the hard work that they put in every single day because they care about our students and want to see them be successful. So I thought that was great. I don't anticipate major changes for next year in terms of who our teachers are in the building, who our administrators are in the building. I think there might be some movements like you see any other from year to year, where, as an example, maybe I teach geometry this year, but someone's retiring and I'd really like to teach, I'd like to go down and teach Algebra 1, or those types of movements that happen every single year could occur, but nothing major. There shouldn't be any movements that would look different from any other year that in the 4 years that you guys have been here, there have been those slight adjustments, and I don't anticipate anything more than that. Okay. Which I'm sure puts students at ease, because I had lots of students coming up to me going, oh my gosh, what is going to happen with my teachers? And we're very, very concerned. And thankfully, it appears that all of that has neutralized. And at this point, moving forward, there shouldn't be a concern about major changes.
It means a lot coming from a student that some students pay attention than most. But it means a lot coming from them to them being able to pay attention to what's happening with their teachers, to feel for their teachers, they have that connection with their teachers that they don't want them to go, or
they do. And one of the things that I said to students when students came up to me in the hallway and they said those things to me, my response to them was, please go to your teacher and tell them that. And the reason is that a lot of times in the day in and day out, you get mad at your teacher over a certain situation. You don't necessarily let them know that you care about them and appreciate them. And that's part of growing up, that's part of adolescence. But it was a good opportunity, I think, for students to express that and let their teachers know that even though it's not easy to be a teacher here or anywhere. It many days can be a thankless job, but I wanted to make sure that those students made it clear how much they appreciate their teachers. So I think that was, in an unfortunate sequence of events, that was one thing that was positive.
I have to say, like, from this whole experience, I was just so proud of like how the students and the community came together as like a team, and handled what we wanted to see happen, and it was amazing. It was very cool to see.
I would agree. I think any time that that a community comes together, it's a good thing. And the fact that our community members are paying attention to what is going on in the school is a good thing, because ultimately the school exists to serve the community. All of us have a job here, not just to have a job, right? The school doesn't exist for us. It truly exists for you all and what your hopes and dreams are. We have to work to make that a reality. I always say that my number one job is to make sure that when students graduate from Lorain High, that they have options, that they get to pick what it is. I can't decide for you that you need to go to college. I can't decide for you that you need to go out and get a job. But I need to make sure that whichever one of those you choose, that you have an option that's a dignified option, and that you don't feel like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? So I think the community coming together, and our teachers have come together. Our teachers are united with one another, which I also think is a good thing, because this is a job where you have to collaborate with one another. You have to work together, and seeing them come together and be bonded, I think is a positive thing.
So getting more to our student body, probably one of the biggest questions that you get is dress code. Now, it's not going to where you think it's going to go, but so dress code is supposed to signify unity within our school, student body, but some students still kind of feel alone. And what are we doing to help them?
Feel alone in what sense?
Kind of like that there's no one there to support them, help them along their way. Like, I know that there's the announcements for the social workers, Miss Neely and Miss Jackson, but some just still feel alone. What are we doing for them?
Well, I think that's a good point. And interestingly enough, we had a faculty member who wrote an open letter to the staff just about a week ago on that very topic of reaching out to our students who maybe aren't the loudest and aren't always the most noticeable. They might be a student who comes in every day and who is quiet, but just because they're quiet or maybe not causing a problem, it doesn't mean that they're a student who doesn't want a connection with an adult in the building. And I thought that was an excellent point, and I appreciated that she brought that to the forefront. What we have to do, I think everyone, teachers, even other students, administrators, social workers, counselors, everyone is here in the building, is make sure that every student feels recognized. One of the things that I try to do that is very simple is that every time a student walks by me, I try to acknowledge that student and say hello to them. Some appear like they don't want me to say hello to them or look down or they don't seem particularly interested, but I try to say hello to every student that I see here in the day. And when they come in the morning, same thing. A little crabby maybe, came out of the cold. I say to every person who comes to the kiosk to tap in the morning, good morning, and how are you? Because I want them to feel recognized, and I try to use their name. With 2,000 some students, it is not easy to learn names.
It's a little hard.
But the kiosk is actually kind of a cheat sheet, because when they tap in, I can see the name, so I try to use that student's name and welcome them every day. That's a small thing, but on the faculty and the administrative level, it's really paying attention and noticing any signs that a student needs help. being sure that when a student expresses on any level, might be in a paper, might be in something that we overhear, that they need help, that we provide that to them, and that we connect students with resources that we do have. Similar to all of the options that you have when you graduate from here, a lot of students don't even realize that there's a social worker here that could talk to them, or they don't realize that their guidance counselor is someone who could sit down and have a conversation with them. So we want to connect them with that. And I would also say sort of last piece of that is we have heard over and over again this year that we need more wraparound services.
Yes.
And we need additional social workers. And I think that although there are resource constraints that have to be discussed with the district, we're constantly looking for ways where we can get more partners and more individuals who are here in the building who are accessible to our students. One example is we currently don't have a male social worker. So it would be nice, and nothing against our female social workers, because they are wonderful. They are wonderful, and everyone who knows them knows how great they are. But I would love to see in the future for us to have a man here as well, so that our young men have someone who they can go to as well to talk through things, because sometimes it's helpful to be with someone of the same sex to have a conversation. So those are all things that we're looking for going in for the next year.
So I don't know about you guys, but I've heard the word collaborate a lot recently.
Yeah.
It started at the beginning of the season, or the beginning of the year, with collaborate with integrity, and it's just turned into collaborate. So what are some ways that the school moving forward is going to collaborate with their teachers and the students?
Yeah, I recognize and understand that at points in this year it hasn't always felt like collaboration, and I think an important part of my job is understanding the pulse of the building and understanding where people are. For us, in terms of collaboration, from now till the end of the year, I announced yesterday in our staff meeting with teachers that we're going to be forming committees that are going to be made up of faculty members that are going to look to address some of our most significant challenges as a building. What are those significant challenges? One is attendance. We average somewhere around an 85% attendance rate here at Lorain High School on any given day, and our goal is to see that be well over 90%. So we have to really think about how do we get students here, right? Another thing is that in our ninth grade in particular, we have many students who struggle academically and are unsuccessful in one or more classes their first year, and we're trying to think about how do we help those students be successful before it's too late and they end up having to repeat ninth grade. We also know that discipline and building climate has been a challenge, both with our faculty members but also with our students. And we want, and this is a goal that we need to work together to achieve, but we want every adult and every student who's in this building to feel like this is their home away from home. This should be a place that we enjoy coming to every day, and we look forward to interacting with the people that we interact with. And we have a committee that's going to be looking at those items on a qualitative side, but then we also have a committee that's going to be looking at our English language arts curriculum as well as our math curriculum, because we see those as two academic areas that traditionally on state tests we haven't done as well as we would like. And we think that by providing our teachers with additional resources, they can do a better job of reaching the students who most need help. So that's another one of the things that the committee is going to be looking at. So those committees will be meeting. They're going to start next week, and their recommendations will become part of what we will recommend to the district as our Lorain High School plan. That will be collaboratively, to use your word, to be collaboratively developed with teachers and with the administration. And I just am looking to know from them, like, let me know what you need, because I recognize that our teachers have a lot of experience in this building. They've seen a lot of different things, and they've seen things over the years that have worked. They've seen things over the years that haven't worked. And what has worked, we want to harness, and we want to have that good practice be used across the entire building. And that in and of itself is difficult because it's a big place. But that's what we're working towards accomplishing, and I'm really looking forward to what the teachers are going to recommend, and then trying to get as much in place for next year, and then looking to do 2 and 3 years down the line, some of the more ambitious, larger elements that will take a little bit more time to plan and get into place.
I know from my experience, because there's been so many changes in leadership, not only at the district level, but at this, our high school level, there tends to be a lot of things that happen over and over again. So I know that like the teachers, they just want to be heard. They just want to be heard. And I think that with their experience, they definitely deserve to be heard. So I appreciate that that's what we're moving towards.
I totally agree. I think anyone wants to be heard. I think the students want to be heard too. And that's another piece that towards the end of the year, once we have all of the information from the teachers, we'll also do some focus groups with students so that you can kind of look at what some of the plans are and give your suggestions of how we could make it better and how we can connect with students so that they too feel part of the plan, that things aren't no one feels good about something that's being done to them. Everyone wants to be a part of something. They want to do it with whoever's making the decision. So you and community members will have an opportunity to participate as well once we've gotten through the first phase of getting the teachers' input.
Even us 3 as seniors, I know we're looking for the underclassmen. We're looking out for them. So I think us 3, I can say that we would be willing to give our input, what we have experienced over these 4 years, and take that into consideration when planning out their upbringing.
I appreciate that, and that's important because ultimately, as I said earlier, the school exists to serve the students. So we have to make sure that our plans are relevant to what it is that you all want to see. And I know that from talking with students, you want to have an experience that prepares you for what comes next, and that's what we're going to look to provide. Anything else on your minds?
I don't think so. How about you?
I think you should ask
Molly?
what he's most excited about in the future.
Okay. So what do you think that, because you've talked a lot about things to come to our school in the future and things, so what do you think you're most excited about?
I think what I'm most excited about is a plan that we're working on that's a college and career continuum is the name of the plan. And it's a collaborative effort. Sorry, I hate to use the word again, but it is a collaborative effort between a number of organizations that are out in the community that have an interest in supporting the Lorain City Schools. And many of them have been supporting Lorain City Schools for years, but they've all been working independently as opposed to working together. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that a student who comes in from 8th to 9th grade receives support in making the transition from 8th to 9th, and then from 9th to 12th grade that they receive as part of their academic program leadership and diversity training, and then that there's support for them to make the step from 12th grade to whatever they choose to do after, whether it be career or college. And we have a number of organizations that have presented proposals and are currently working together right now to see how each one can work with the other so that we're not doubling our efforts, that it's not inefficient, that each one is using their resources as effectively as possible so that a student can have all those experiences by the time they graduate. And then that we follow up with them once they leave here, because our commitment to our students is not just, hey, you graduated, here's your diploma, go out into the world, good luck. We want students to know that we continue to be a resource in the future, and maybe you don't go right into college when you graduate, maybe you work, but if you decide to go to college 2 years later, there are still people in the building who are rooting for you and who will support you in that process. So having that big picture and making sure that every one of our students is held through that process is something that excites me. It's going to take time. I'm not sharing at this point who the partners are or any of the specific details because it's something that is very much a work in progress. But as soon as we have additional information, we will share it. And it excites me because it's, to me, what makes a true and lasting difference for our community is being able to pull that off. And it connects to everything that we're doing on an academic an academic and academy rollout level. I think it just brings the whole picture together. So that's what I'm most excited about.
So as one for the students that, like as you are, could people come to you, students in the future, could they come back to you, maybe ask you for a recommendation letter or anything to help them succeed in?
Sure, absolutely. I still have students from when I was teaching who write me on Facebook and will say, hey, you know, I decided to go to community college, can you write me a letter of recommendation? And although I'm very busy, I always find time for that because, again, I'm in education because I care about students. I want to see students be successful, and in any way that I can help, I'm willing to do that.
So you had that calling.
Yes, absolutely. I went into education because I wanted to help young people reach their full potential, and that's not a commitment that ends when someone turns 18 years old. It's a lifelong commitment. So yes, students can come to me anytime. I always warn students that my schedule is very busy and I can't always get back. They'll send you an email and they want a response within like 25 minutes. I can't. I'm not 25-minute fast, but typically 24 to 48 hours I'll get with the student and will help them with the resources that they need. I've had a lot of students come to me recently because we do have a summer job opportunity, and they're looking for recommendations for that, and I've been getting that to any student who is interested because I know that the $10 an hour over the summer could be a big help for a lot of them. But yes, absolutely, students can come to me, and we also have 14 if you include our academic specialist in early college. We have 14 administrators here in the building who are also equally open and willing to help students. Just come up to us and talk to us, and we're there to help. We're here because we wanna see every student be successful.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.